No code Shopify. Let's dive a little deeper into this topic. As a Shopify developer, the easiest way for me to get things done is to simply start writing code. No matter whether you use some sort of no-code solution or not, the result is always code. So for me, why not skip to the end part and write the code myself? But of course, my clients don't necessarily have this ability, hence why they work with me to get the exact result they're looking for on the front end. For me, the no-code solutions that I've seen used on my client stores only make my job harder. Page building apps like Gem Pages install template after template of messy, unreadable code to the live theme, often with no section settings whatsoever, forcing me to have to go into one of these apps and insert my liquid code into weird spots, often copying and pasting into multiple templates. It's just a nightmare to work with as a developer. But then one of my clients messaged me about an app that claims to take a Figma design and instantly transform it into Shopify code. And this app even creates section settings for you so that you can update the content using the theme editor like you would a manually created section. Transferring Figma designs to Shopify theme code is something that usually takes me hours to implement, so it got me very curious. Could this app essentially cut down on hours of development time? To find out, I decided to take a deeper look, and in the process, it inspired a whole Skillshare class, which by the way is now live on my Skillshare channel. As always, there is a free trial available for new members, so if you want to check it out, link is in the description as always. But anyways, what I'm gonna do in this video is dive into my computer and show you what happened when I went to use this plugin, and in turn, what we can learn about these sorts of apps that talk a big game about replacing theme development. Are we really at this stage now where we don't need to code in order to create dynamic templates? Let's find out. All right, because this video is not so much a tutorial like some of my other videos, but more of a let's have a look and see how good this product actually is, I'm gonna try and move through this pretty quickly and get to my point as soon as possible. So here you can see that I'm on the Figma to Shopify instant plugin, and I can just click here to get the free plugin. So I'm going to need an actual Figma account for this. As you can see, I'm already logged in here, but if you don't have a Figma account and want to try this, you're going to need a Figma account. Anyway, as you can see here, we've got this new page here, and if I click here to open in, it's going to show us recently opened files that we have available in our Figma account. And as you can see, I've got a few different Figma files on my account. Now with my clients, what happens is I get a Figma file shared to me, and then I build based off of that. But if you don't have a Figma design to go off of, what you can do is use one from the community. So if I go up to here to design templates, I will right click and open this in a new app, because I want to keep this one open. And then from here, what I'll do is I'll search for e-commerce. Okay, let's find an e-commerce site. A lot of these have like nice cover imagery, but I just want to find something that looks like a simple e-commerce site that we could fit into Shopify. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, I want something that's a little bit more high fidelity than that. Some of these are apps. Let's say e-commerce landing page. Right, here we go, furniture landing page. This looks like it could definitely be a Shopify site. So I'm gonna click this button here to open in Figma. We're on the cover page here, so I'm gonna switch over to visual design. And this is pretty typical of a design that you would get from a designer in order to code up. So you've got, this section here, you've got this container in here with a header, text, button. It actually looks like it's pretty well made and structured. So this is a pretty good example, or should be a good example. So let me go back to here. Where was I? Right here, and then click open in, and then click e-commerce website. As you can see here, I've got this blue button for run. Let me just switch to visual design first. I've lost it now, but if I go over to here, plugins, Figma to Shopify with instant, we get the same thing. And we need to just choose a frame, run the plugin, and then paste it inside of Instant Page Builder. So let me try and grab this as a section. It was this one here, mask group. I'll copy that frame, and then now we're going to need to paste it into an instant layout or canvas or whatever they call it. So for that, I'm going to create an account with my name and email. They're going to give me a direct link to sign in. Here's my sign in link. Not sure if this is actually still loading, so I'm going to reload that page. Okay, not sure what's going on there. Maybe we just sign up with Google instead, just to get around this for this video. Okay, so now we have a fresh Instant account, and what's interesting is we've got our Figma account, we've got our Instant account, and then we've got our Shopify store. Most page building apps or apps in general, we go to our Shopify store and then we install the app, which at that point authenticates the app to use the store. Instant is a little bit different. As you can see, the Instant Page Builder app shows up in its own window. It's not embedded into the Shopify admin, and we haven't even accessed a Shopify site yet. So that's interesting. So we can either go in and install the plugin now, or we can just start creating a site right now within Instant. It's up to us, but we need to connect this to a store at some point and install the app. Let's create a new site, and I will call this e-commerce website. Hit next step. This is just for Instant, I think. I'm just going to click create new site. You don't actually have to do this. You can skip that step. And now let's click build from scratch. So what we're in right now is the page builder user interface for Instant. So we can create layouts ourselves in here, and it's not bad, to be honest. I cover a more in-depth guide on how to use this and what my thoughts are on this inside the Skillshare class. But for this video, what we're looking at specifically is, can we take a Figma design, put this into Instant, publish it to our website, and cut out the majority of our work? So let's just go over here and copy again, just to make sure it's definitely copied. And now that we have Instant open, let's paste that in. I'm just pressing Command V, which is the shortcut on Mac, to get that across. And as you can see, we've got a few ticks here, but then we're getting this warning, which is you are not using Figma Auto Layout. This is something I noticed through all the tutorials, that if you want this plugin to work well from Figma, the Figma design needs to use Auto Layout. But what's interesting is I've yet to come across a Figma design where this warning doesn't show up. So if we click to view guide and we search for auto layout, use auto layout as much for the best possible result. This will automatically convert layers into responsive elements. So basically, if we don't have this auto layout thing, then you're about to see these elements aren't going to be responsive. So as you can see here, if I go into mobile now, I'm not really seeing a difference. Nothing is really rearranging. And if I dive into these different groups here, you can see that they're positioned absolutely, which if you know anything about web development, you don't want to be positioning all your elements absolutely on the page. It's only every now and then that you would need to position something absolutely, and you're usually positioning something absolutely within a container element. So number one, this is not going to work. So we'll need to go into here. And what is this layer right here? The Scandinavian interior. If I just delete that. Okay, so that's the background image. And right here is sort of this container right here. Okay, so that's good that this is a container within this overall container, but I don't want this to be absolute. Let's make this relative. And then let's go into all the elements inside and make these relatives. And now you can see our layout starts to fall apart right now. Okay. So yeah, we don't want any of these to be relative. We don't want them to be absolute. So let's set these all to relative. Okay. So this is kind of like a background. So we've got this group here, which is kind of like our container. That's better. So if we go in here and we set the fill equal to this fill right here, then we should get the correct result. So we go in here and let's go into fill that with the correct color. Okay, and then we can delete that rectangle. All right, so now we've got sort of this box here. Is that responsive? Okay, we need to do a little bit more work. And as you're starting to see already, if we don't have auto layout, we're having to do a lot of the responsive work still. So whether you're a coder or you like to use page builder apps, you're still gonna have to do a bit of work here. So what do we want for this container? We don't want it to be a fixed height. We want it to, I think fill is the term. And let's just say 0 there. There's a way to get it, I think fit is the right one. There we go. Yeah, so it's going to just have an auto height. And the width, typically I don't like to use fixed widths. I will say fit as well, but let's add a max here of, what is it currently? It doesn't say what it is currently, but we can always resize it. So about 550. So let's go in. Oh, that's made it fixed now. So let me switch this back to fit and then just give it a max width. Oh, it doesn't have an option for max width. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, as I'm playing around with this, you can see, okay, this is like flex, and I'm changing the flex direction. I can give this some padding here. We can, change the align, which is like align items in flex. But if you're a web developer, obviously you would just set this up yourself, and it's not going to be that much slower or faster. So once again, we want this container to have this background image, not have an image sitting just on top of the background in an absolute fashion. So if I can find, I think this asset should already be loaded up into the assets over here, which is a cool feature. If you import, it will import all the assets as well. So I do like that. So I'll cancel out of that, and then let's set the fill to that image. Okay, so now it's a background image. That's much nicer rather than a absolutely positioned element. And then here, I'd want to put that in sort of like a page width container as well. So maybe I can go in here and bring in a row and then bring this inside the row. And then this row will be like max width. Maybe there was max width before and I just missed it. Max width of 19, actually no, let's say 1200, and let's increase our canvas here to 150. Okay, cool. This one, how do we fill this right here? We want it to fill the whole space. I don't know how to do that. Did I set it to fit? No, I set it to fill. Interesting. Have I got a max width set on this? Probably. No, the width has been fixed. Okay, so I'll hit fill. Okay, there we go. So now it's going to, that background's going to fill. And then in here, I've got this larger group. I don't know if I actually need that. So let me drag this over to here, delete this group. And then now you can see we've got this sticking to the top left corner, but that's actually better than before because now we should be able to position this within our row. So I should be able to, nope, still can't do that. Let's go into, maybe I was selecting the wrong one. There we go. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, cool. So now we can, sort of position it like here, for instance. And now we've got the rows a bit too high. So let me just set to fill. Is that going to work? But anyway, guys, this is not a tutorial on how to use Instant. This is more of a demo of, can we get a design from Figma directly into Shopify in a much shorter period than if we were to code it ourselves. So let's have a look. Is it any more responsive? It is. Okay, that's good because we've set it up nicely with like good nesting, with good containers. That's a lot of the skill set with responsive web development these days, is having proper containers set up with max widths and relative widths so that you're getting the best result on every screen size. And I just noticed that there's no padding. So that's done the top and bottom. That's done the sides. Okay, great. So yeah, I've just added some padding to the container there. And let's actually publish this. So we're on page mode at the moment. So this will publish a page. And we just want to change this. So let's just call this landing page and then the handle landing page. And I just realized we haven't even done anything with Shopify yet. So here we go. Shopify required. Let's hit connect. And at this point, we can click to install the app. Okay, there's an issue here. I think that's because I need to log into the store. This right here is the store that I've set up specifically for this tutorial. So let's go in, and so that we're all working with something similar, I'm just going to install the latest version of Dawn. I'll wait for that to finish installing. And as you can see, it's installed the latest version, which at the time of recording is 13.0.1. So I'll hit publish on that. So any changes now with Instant will go into the main theme. That's pretty consistent across all page building apps. They only ever really install their templates into the main theme. And then I'll go into apps and install Instant. So right here, Instant page building app, and we're back to this page. So I'll hit install, and now I've got this. You don't have access to the Instant site connected to your Shopify store. Okay, so this appears to be an issue on my end with having multiple accounts. I'm gonna have to log out of this one, unfortunately, because I've already connected this Shopify site to a Instant site on another account. Instant does not let you delete a site once you've created it, which is really frustrating. So sorry guys, I'm gonna have to do the rest of the tutorial in a different Instant account, the one that is already connected to the store. Got some issues with logging in here, unfortunately. Maybe if I continue with Google with that account, that should work, hopefully. Click continue. Okay, so now I'm in my original Instant account. And as you can see, if I go into one of these site settings, there's no option to delete these sites. And once they're connected to a store, you can't connect another site. Super frustrating. Anyway, so when I was testing out Instant, I previously connected this site to my Shopify store. So now that I'm logged into this Instant account, I should be able to install the app on that store. Again, this is a weird thing that only Instant seems to do, having like a site and then connecting it to a Shopify site and having a difference between the two. I don't quite understand what the point is with that. If there is only a one-to-one relationship, then the site should essentially be the Shopify site. Anyway, as you can see, I'm a bit frustrated with these apps. I'd rather just code things up, which is the conclusion I'm getting to at the end of this video. So let's have a look. All right, so we've got a design right here that I actually built in Instant. So if you build designs in Instant, it can work all right. Obviously, they've got tutorials out there, but this is really testing the plugin and seeing how far we can get. And because I can't access the layout in the other account, I'm going to have to just publish this one and show you how this one works. So this is just problems with navigating through this page builder app. I'm going to first click on this thing and change the page name. So let's call this Sacred. I'll give the handle Sacred as well. And then I'll hit publish. Now we can click to view the page, and you see what we get is the page implemented on the front end on a Shopify page. Okay, as you can see, if we look at the HTML, a lot of weird code in here that I don't necessarily like, a lot of random IDs and stuff. As a developer, this sort of stuff is a bit disgusting to me. But yeah, that's essentially what you get when you publish. But the thing with Instant Page Builder that is cool and that there's a bit of hype around is creating sections. So Instant allows you to create sections that can have actual settings that you can change in the theme editor. This is something I set up earlier. Let me delete that and run through that with you again. I went to this design template search and I searched for product page. And the one I found was this one. So let's open this one up in Figma. All right, cool. We're in the cover. Let's go to the visual design. And right now you can see this is pretty typical, again, of what I would be getting from a designer. So let's actually go over here and click on, let's just do this whole frame, right? And then I'll go over here to access the plugin, Figma to Shopify with Instant. Let's click to copy frame. Once it's finished processing all the layers, now we can go back into Instant. And because this is a product page, I want to create this on a section. That way we can load dynamic data into it. I'll hit paste with Command V on a Mac, wait for the assets to finish uploading. And what's interesting is it says, once again, you are not using Figma auto layout, which is interesting because if I go here, you can see here it says auto layout. So it claims to have auto layout on the community page, but then when we put it in Instant, it says we're not using auto layout, okay? And if we go through, you can see a lot of these elements and containers, pretty much all of them are absolutely positioned. Is that going to be responsive? Let's have a look. This actually looks good on mobile, but it's actually hiding all the other stuff. So if we were to increase the page width to like 900, you can see that it's actually just the desktop design, but cut off at the side. Okay, so that's not going to work. Again, this is like a smaller phone, and you can see it's getting cut off. Now, because we're trying to create a section and the header is a different section that sits on the layout, I'm going to delete the header altogether. Now we've got too much padding because we've, essentially got all these elements absolutely positioned. I'm not going to go through and rearrange them like we did in the previous example. What I'm going to show you in this example is loading in dynamic data, which Instant seems to do a pretty okay job at. So I'm going to go to the parent layer or the parent container, and then I'm going to go over to this panel for content. Instead of placeholder, I'm going to select Shopify, and then I'm going to select any product here. It doesn't really matter. We can change this later. So I'll select gift card. Now you'll notice that this container border goes green now because it's linked to dynamic data. But if we look at all the content within this, nothing's changed. But what we can do is if I click here on the product title, you can see here under source, it's got product gift card. So now if I scroll down to content, I can put in some static content, or I could go into dynamic, go down to here, and I could load in any one of these 4 attributes on the product object. It seems like there's only 4, but title is one of them. So now you can see gift cards loading. This is probably like the vendor. So I can go in here, dynamic vendor. All right, snowboard vendor. Here is the price, obviously. Let me go into here, content, dynamic price. Boom. But here, this is probably like a compare at price. But if we go in here, there's no option for compare at price. So we're already starting to hit the limits of what can be achieved with the dynamic data. Here we've got this image. Let's scroll down. And as you can see here, if we hit replace image, it doesn't give us an option to link dynamic data. And that's because this is not actually an image element. It's come through as a rectangle with a image fill. So in order to have dynamic data, we're going to have to replace this. If I go into elements over here, go into image, we're going to have to replace that with an image. And one of the cool things about Instant is we can resize, or we should be able to resize with drag and drop. There we go. And I can resize it to fill that size of that rectangle. And then I will delete that rectangle. Oh, wait. Sorry. That image is nested in that rectangle. So I need to move it out of the rectangle. Actually, no, I need that for layout right now. So I'll keep it in there. But what I'll do is I'll remove that. And then in image, I will set the image to dynamic content. And now that will pull through the product image. Okay. I'm not sure if there's a description somewhere here, but we could pull in the description as well. And now when I hit publish, I've already named this section single product. So that's what it's going to be in our theme editor. And then if I hit customize theme, we're going to be taken to the live theme, which was the one we just installed, which was Dawn version 13. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our default product template. We can't remove these because these are hard coded onto the product.json template. And then I will search for single product, which is the name of the section. Bring that in here. And now you can see it's still showing gift card, even though we're on the out of stock snowboard. So what I'll do is I'll click into here, and lo and behold, what we have here is some fields for dynamic data. Now, Instant automatically determines which of these should go in here. And so some of these don't really make sense. But right here, we have the linked product, which we set on the container. I can actually use dynamic linking to link to the product that we're currently viewing. So I'll do that. I'll hit product. And now you can see that we're on the out of stock snowboard, and we're able to see the title for that. If I make this bigger, the title for that, the price of that, and the single product image. Let's publish this right now, and we'll hit save on that. And let me just go to this product page, or any product page for that matter. So let's go to the gift card. And as you can see, we've got gift card, the price, the image. But these images would need to swap out as well. And this slider doesn't work. So it hasn't actually created a slider for us. These reviews have got to come from somewhere. This color selector doesn't work. This variant selector doesn't work. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm clicking on all of these elements. That's why they're highlighting.
and they're not doing anything. The add to cart button doesn't work. We'd still have to program in a lot of this stuff. And perhaps more concerning is that this design is not responsive either. And what this is doing is showcasing the inherent problem with transforming visual designs into responsive web development layouts. If we go back to the design, you can see here that we're on a fixed width layout. There's no interactivity. So us as developers, our job is to take a flat design like this. And what we do is we got to figure out what functionality does this do? What functionality does this do? We have to program certain things to actually work. And also on the visual front, we need to be able to structure all of these elements within different containers that are responsive, that are going to respond to the width of the viewport and work on every screen size. So I was very excited initially to try out this Figma to Shopify with Instant plugin and see if this is really going to be a game changer. But my review, after trying a bunch of different things, talking to support and making this YouTube video, I can't say that this is a tool that I'm going to use in my workflow. It doesn't, as a developer, make my life any easier. And I guess for someone that is a complete no-code user, they might be able to get some use out of it. But once again, what are you going to do when you have to code in these variant selectors? Now, that being said, Instant have recently announced on their YouTube channel, if we head over to their channel here, there is a video 3 weeks ago, Instant update variant select. So I don't know if we have to use a specific template by them or we can adapt this to be variant. But if we have a look here, I don't really see any options to turn this into a variant selector. So there's still some development, some coding that I think is inevitable. And for me as a developer with knowledge and experience of how to turn flat designs into responsive layouts, I don't think that this particular plugin is going to be taking my job anytime soon. That's not to say there won't be a tool in future that actually does this job and does it well.
So there you have it, guys. This particular no-code solution doesn't appear to be a silver bullet. And the experience of producing this video, as well as the hour-long Skillshare class, has shown me something important. And that is, no matter whether you use code or not, there are still a lot of decisions around responsive web development and functionality that someone, whether a developer or not, needs to understand and implement. As we saw in this video, Figma designs are often shared in fixed widths, which then need to be translated into containers with various rules set to dictate what should happen when elements inevitably expand and contract. As far as I understand, there is a way that designers can use constraints and scaling rules in Figma to actually create a responsive design. But in my experience, designers typically do not possess this skill set and rely on developers like myself to translate what we saw today with fixed positioning into expanding and contracting web responsive containers. So the bottom line is, if designers want to create actual web pages, they are going to need to understand responsive web design and design with containers in mind. Until then, it looks like I'll keep on doing what I'm doing with theme development. But what are your thoughts? Have you tried creating web pages with some of these no-code solutions in Shopify? Let me know your experience in the comments below. And until next time, be sure to check out shopifythemedeveloper.com if you want to learn how to code on Shopify and haven't yet. And I'll see you on the next video.